Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Deal with D and J. I'm your co-host, Jacob Pro. Alongside me, the man packing, moving, boxes behind him. Looks like a fortress back there. That is DJ McCarthy. Yes, it is. DJ, how you doing?
Miserable. Packing is no fun. It's an endless process, a bottomless pit, and everything that's wrong with the world is in packing. We're all hoarders, and it comes out as soon as you're packing. But I'll leave that tirade there. I just needed to get that off my chest. But we're here. We're here. How are you,
That
Jacob?
that we are. I'm good. Life's vibing. Playing a lot of the college football, grinding the Delaware rebuild.
Okay.
We currently are 6-2, vying for Conference USA supremacy. But yeah, it is not fun. It is not for the weak. It's a grind. And then yeah, it's kind of where it's gone. This show's an interesting one. You know, we're covering some baseball, some football. I actually sat down with Mr. Jonny Lazarus, hockey personality with Bleacher Report. Does a lot of stuff. Daily Face Off, covers some of the New York Rangers, calls college hockey games. It was great talking to him as he kind of continues his ascent into the college hockey and NHL world, and just got to talk some puck, especially from this free agency. So that'll be towards the later part of the episode. But yeah, loved having Jonny on. I think we'll probably have him back on in October, right before hockey season. He's a great dude. But yeah, that's let's dive right into it here. We got yesterday was the Tuesday was the MLB All-Star game.
Yep.
And, you know, granted, maybe I will say this, maybe we're sleeping under a rock. Maybe college football took too much of my attention, but I felt like the MLB All-Star week, Monday, Tuesday, it threw me all off. Because I'm either used to it being on the weekend or it's a Tuesday, Wednesday type of deal. This completely threw me off this week with how the All-Star game in the week was set up. I don't know if you felt the same. Probably people are like, you guys are just not ball knowers. I saw that. We don't watch ball. We're casuals. But it's like, I work in marketing, and that thing was poorly marketed. Like, I knew the rosters, and it's like, okay. But then I don't know when the game is. And then the home run derby was Monday night, and I'm like, okay. And I don't like the home run derby format anyway, so I don't have an interest in really watching the home run derby anymore. But, like, it used to be a big deal, obviously, but it was, like, so heavily promoted. Maybe I'm not on ESPN a bunch anymore, but it used to be on, like, and it's on Fox, and I'm not seeing it on Fox. I'm not seeing it on my socials. Like, even the ESPN stuff on Twitter and all that, I don't even see any of it there. Like, did you have the same sentiment that I have before we dive into, like, what actually was a very entertaining home run derby and all-star game? But, like, did you even feel like it was happening, or did you kind of just was like, oh, like, that's cool?
I mean, obviously I'm in the midst of, dealing with a bunch of different stuff, but when I got the announcements and everything for it, or like the notifications came up that it was starting, or the intros were happening, and then it was, round one completed, this person moved on, and then that person moved on. It became very I'm like, it is Monday night. Like, I am getting in the groove of the week. It's not something like Monday Night Football is different than celebrating this one time, event happening in the middle of the week, right? So I wasn't prepared for it. Like, I'm used to All-Star Weekend, being a Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Saturday kind of vibe. And like, we did the podcast about the starters for it, right? That all the picks were in for who made the teams, the replacements coming in. And I was just like, I didn't know the game was coming. Like you said, you're a marketing guy, and it was horribly marketed, and it snuck up on me. And I was like, I don't have time. Like, I'm not watching the home run derby into my schedule on a Monday night that I didn't know was happening. So, like, you give me 3 hours notice, I'm like, I don't have the time to switch everything that I'm doing to sit down and turn on the TV to watch this. You would have given me a week's notice and given me some nice promos, right? Then I'm working myself towards it. I'm like, okay, I want to have it on in the background at the bare minimum. the bare minimum. And then in best case scenario is I get to sit there, I'm done with everything. I know it's happening, and I get to sit down and watch it. And none of that happened. And I think that's a disgrace to the game of baseball and a disgrace to the tradition. You know, the tradition has sucked the last few years, but a disgrace to those that hit in the home run derby before them. The Josh Hamiltons of 2008, it's a disrespect for.
Prince
And the
Fielder.
Ryan Howards of 2006. Disrespectful.
Prince Fielder of like 2010, 2011.
Disrespectful.
I think talking about the marketing of it from a strategic side and a little insight to obviously like what I do, when you add the platforms and the assets that come into promoting an event like this, and obviously the All-Star Game and the Home Run Derby are on two different channels, so they have different things to promote. ESPN's not going to promote the All-Star Game. They're going to promote the Home Run Derby, and vice versa. Fox is not going to promote the Home Run Derby. They're going to promote the All-Star Game. But neither of them did that. Like, maybe it got lost on my feed. But, like, until the Home Run Derby was happening, I just, like, didn't really... I knew the batters, right? We got 8 batters at the last second, right? And, like, for the most part, I didn't really care, like, who the batters were. Like, I kind of figured Cal Raleigh was going to win, given what he's done all season. James Wood, kind of exciting. But then it was like Byron Buxton, Brent Rooker, who does hit...
Jazz Chisholm
with a pitiful 3 home runs, right? Like,
and
there's
then they go on the record afterwards being like, I wasn't trying to mess up my swing. Come on, dog.
I mean,
situational
it's just like,
awareness.
I mean, they just don't have time to sit there and take hacks because it's just speed. It's speed BP. So, like, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who don't like the format of the Home Run Derby, but you also can't have a Home Run Derby that's, 6 minutes long, right? Or not 6 minutes, 6 hours, right? Because that's what it used to go. It used to take forever. But, like, they couldn't...
Well, it was based on an out system, and you could take pitches if you wanted to.
But I think I think they need to find a happy medium. The time aspect plus the 10 outs. I think you need to... I feel like it should be like a one or another type of situation. You know what I'm saying? Instead of trying to hit home runs in 3 minutes, maybe it's like 8 minutes. You get one timeout. If you take X number of pitches in a row or a swing and a miss, it's an out. Like something where you there is a little bit more strategy. I don't know. It's just not... It's like you see the clips like you mentioned, the 2008 Josh Hamilton, and every single person, 1, packed to the gills. 2, every single person is on their feet loving the home run. I mean, O'Neal Cruz hit a bomb, 513. That was insane. But going to the All-Star Game in and of itself, this was the first one in a long time where the hitters really got the pitchers. Because normally it's like a 2-1, 1-0 game because the pitchers dominate, but this one, the hitters really got after it. And obviously, we go into what arguably is the most memorable part, which does that... I don't know if anybody even knows, I didn't even see it on social how they tied it up, but the AL tied it up late.
Yeah, in the bottom of the 8th, Stephen Kwan hit a short ground ball to short, third base.
Yeah, so... maybe that's...
Might we add real quick, just sorry to cut you off, but we did all-star starters on the mound. Come on.
Yep.
We gotta, come on, Jacob, give yourself a pat. We did good there.
Wasn't that hard, but
I mean,
it's light work. It's light work for us. It's just another day in the office.
You gotta give the credit where it's due.
I do agree on that. I do think and obviously then at the end of it being tied, this is where people really got frustrated. Is they were having a swing off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the AL threw out... I don't even know who they threw out. But the NL threw out Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso, and Kyle Stowers. And everyone's looking at the AL being like, where's Judge? Looking at the NL
right.
Where's Ohtani? But those dudes, as soon as they get pulled from the game, they're gone. They're on their plane trying to get their 2-day vacation, essentially, in the middle of the year.
Right.
But other than that, like I thought it was overall pretty exciting. Junior Caminero was exciting. The one kid robbed somebody of a home run was hilarious. Kid forgot what his job was. He was like, I see this ball and I'm gonna rob him. Insanity. But I don't know. I feel like the All-Star game is kind of losing its allure for me. Maybe it's because I don't have a bunch of All-Stars for my team in it. Like it was just Brendan Donovan from the Cardinals.
Right.
So, like, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem, and that's okay. You know, that's okay.
I think some of it comes to do with like the game and the names that are in it are changing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't have as many, 15 to 20-year vets that are going in there, right? Like you mentioned the Cardinals, right? That being your team. I just watched a clip from, I think, when did the Reds host the All-Star game? Was that like 2015?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was like there were 5 to 7 Cardinals players. I mean, just legends from Carpenter to Molina to Michael
Probably,
Wacha. You know,
yeah, that was probably the year where it was like Molina, Beltran, Holiday, Molina, and then Carpenter or Wainwright in there, or both of them were. Like, Waco had the crazy year. Matt Carpenter might have been on that year too, like 2013. But
it was something like that. But just legends on there. And after every pick was made, the fans were booing. You
yeah, I
know,
know.
in
The
in
Reds
true
fans hated
baseball
us.
fashion. And I think part of it is, again, these names aren't as classic, right? As you would normally see, or mid 2000s, the turn of the century, first decade, or even the second decade of them all. But
I think it also comes at the price of like when, like you said, you're moving. I obviously much rather grind college football than watch the All-Star game. And it's just like one of those things. I think where baseball, like it's one of those sports where it is hard to watch on TV regardless of how entertaining you can make it. Like watching Clayton Kershaw be mic'd up and then have to pitch was kind of funny, but I don't know. Maybe I guess like I think, what they did for Hank Aaron, though. Did you see that? Did you see that video of what they did for the Hank Aaron, like,
I
honoring?
did not.
Dude,
I did
that
not.
you should go watch that. It was bananas. It was so cool. They basically reenacted Home Run 715 with like fireworks and lights. It's awesome what they did. So kudos
Okay.
to them. Kudos to them on that, but I don't know. Maybe we're the odd men out, DJ, in terms of talking about the All-Star game, but again, Mizorowski pitched in it, and I mean, he pitched a 94-mile-an-hour slider, and everybody in the dugout was like, how does this guy pitch that? How does he pitch that? So I think the All-Star game's a little funny, but
Well, I think that's
maybe I'm
so.
not the
One thing I
target
want to.
audience.
So I'm going to make 2 points here, right? One, it really did look like the players had fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the Clayton Kershaw mic'd up on the mound?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was so cool, right? And even he was up there like, this is weird being able to talk to you guys, but saying his pitches as he was getting ready to throw them, it just seemed like everybody was enjoying being there, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, it doesn't hold the implications like, deciding who has home field, right, in the World Series, which I think they should bring back, makes it so much more serious and would keep people from opting out of it due to rests, which is important, I might throw out there. But, you want to make sure you get the best of the best and they don't drop out. That is something that they would do. And the teams would be more likely to incentivize their players voted into the All-Star game to play. But what was my point number two? Oh, the fact that MLB is targeting new audience as well, right? I think that does, like what you just said about, target audience. They are trying to target more than just your average viewer, right? Like in news, there's like the likelihood of somebody staying on the news channel for more than 10 minutes, very slim, right? You've got about 3 minutes to grab somebody's attention, and if you don't have it within them, they're changing the channel, right? Besides weather and traffic, which are people's biggest things. So, that's why the timer comes in to the home run derby, right? They want to keep viewership as long as they can, right? But it also costs them to run a certain amount of time on that broadcast. So it's a give and take through all of it. But I think that it becomes a loss to those people. I don't want to say stuck in their ways, but I'm old school baseball. I will say though, the ABS system being in the All-Star game, pretty sick. I think I'm on board with the ABS system. Any thoughts, feelings, emotions?
I think I'm hit or miss on the ABS system because on the one hand, I do like that there's a accountability for the umpires when you want to argue balls and strikes, but I do think there has to be a limit on how many times you use the ABS. Like, you can't just abuse it every inning. It's probably like the mound visit thing where you only get X amount of challenges. But I do like it. I think it holds umpires accountable.
They were 4 for 4.
They
were 4 for 4 on them.
I mean, the guys know the strike zone better than the umpires because, especially batters and pitchers, because umpires are looking at it from a subjective, they create their own strike zone.
Right.
Versus, I think
it changes from batter to batter, too.
Yeah. Versus, I think pitchers and catchers just have, doing it for so long, they just have a better sense of what is and what isn't, regardless of, what happens.
Right.
I do like ABS, though. I do think it needs to be implemented, but I do think there needs to be limits to it as well, because you got to be somewhat strategic. We can't be calling balls and strikes in the first inning and then we're slowing the game down, And then you got to think about it later on in, let's say, a postseason. You take away some of the human element out of the game, but also, baseball is one of those things where, the strike zone is one of those things that isn't subjective, though. You know what I'm saying? The strike zone is, it's a defined box. It's the width of the plate, height of knee to chest.
Yeah.
That's defined.
Yeah, you are technically correct, yes. And it is, depending on who you got back there is kind of the grace where you see kind of the downfall, because some people are like, well, a ball 2 inches off the plate, you can smack that thing still. But you're talking 6 inches off the plate, or maybe not as drastic as 2 inches, but 2 inches is a lot. Huge.
Yeah. I just think, but for the most part, most umpires are pretty accurate, though. Most umpires are above a 90% accuracy rate.
Yeah, they've been doing. You have not heard as much this year.
It's just for the
as
guys
you have on years past.
It's just for the guys like an Angel Hernandez who was so bad.
They were miserable.
ABS is good. It's just like tennis with the Hawkeye system. It's no different. The point is to get the right call, to do the right thing. But I do think you need to have limits, though. You can't be challenging all the time. You gotta, you may get 5 challenges, and then, if you keep getting them right, you get to, keep them, and then maybe in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, you can't, I don't know. We'll figure, they'll figure it out. But I do like ABS. I think it is the future. And I think it's the right path for umpires. And I think it'll be more of a, essentially a training aid again. Because then the umpires have to recalibrate. Because they don't want to get called to ABS because they think they're absolute. So.
Stuff happens. So, but, did you, were you able to see the comeback by the AL in this game?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Better late than ever. Shout out Paul Skeens for not getting, another bullpen blowing his insane outing, his 1 inning.
I don't think he ended up coming away with a win, did he?
No, I don't think so.
Lost another win, but at least it's not in the L column, I guess.
I don't think any of them were in the L column because it was batting practice. I don't think anybody gets the loss.
True. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, kind of rogue, but apparently the SBs are going on tonight as well. Kind of rogue as well.
Yeah, I hate the well, I don't know how you do the ESPYS the day after an All-Star game too in baseball.
Because there's not a single professional sport on tonight except Major League Soccer. But we get golf this weekend. We get golf starting tomorrow down at the Open, Royal Port Rush. I don't got anything. It's links golf. Weather can be whatever. You got to hit out of a pot bunker. I don't really know who's really going to benefit. Guys who play with irons really benefit. A lot of people like Rory, but Rory has sucked the last several golf tournaments until the Scottish Open last week. Crazy segue that I just did, going from baseball to golf.
It's not that crazy if you think about it.
I will say, I do like Jon Rahm. He's been playing a lot of his best golf recently. Especially in majors, he's playing really, really well. But this course also benefits guys like Sam Burns. A lot of the international guys will really benefit from this. But I like Jon Rahm for my official pick for the soft touch. Right, now we're going to send it on over to Jonny Lazarus. Had a nice little 30-minute talk with him about his career, everything UMass, NHL, college hockey. So go ahead and send it on over to Jonny. Now I welcome on Jonny Lazarus, the host of Daily Face-Off with Colby over there. He's a college hockey analyst, beat reporter for, maybe not beat, but does a lot of New York Rangers coverage, I will say. Love his content on the hockey side of things. Please welcome on Jonny Lazarus to Deal with D&J. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm good, Jacob. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think a lot of people do mix that up. Like, I'm not a day-to-day beat reporter for the Rangers, and a lot of Ranger fans yell at me sometimes when I don't know everything in the day-to-day, but I guess it's an honor that they do think that I am one of them. But I guess we can unpack that as the show goes along.
There we go. We love to hear that. Let's jump right into, for fans who don't know a little bit about you, you played your time at UMass for 2 years. Talk to me a little bit about what led you to UMass, why UMass, and everything that came with it, from transitioning from Wichita Falls and junior hockey to going into college.
Yeah, I mean, simply put, I wasn't getting a lot of looks from other schools. It's not like I had a ton of options. That said, UMass wasn't originally the school that I was really speaking to. I'd been talking to Ben Barr in my second year of junior hockey in Wichita Falls. Throughout most of the year, I think we originally started talking in maybe like November. And at that time, he was actually with Western Michigan. So I was originally just talking to him about Western, but there was no visit or any offer set up. And then once the college hockey season ended and my season was going really well in Wichita Falls, I saw that Ben got the job at UMass. And I was like, oh, wow, I better follow up with him. I know we've been talking back and forth, but UMass is a school much closer to home for me. I grew up in Long Island. It's in Hockey East, which was my favorite college hockey conference as a kid. It's only 3 hours away from home, so my parents can come every weekend to games and my sister can come. And, that was obviously super important to me. My team actually ended up losing in the championship game in the Robertson Cup Finals in the North American League. And then probably about 5 days later, I was on a visit to UMass, and Benny gave me a tour of the school. I fell in love with it right away, met with Coach Carvel, and, I think the next day they called me and gave me an offer. So they might have actually given me an offer when I was there. And I've seen a couple other schools at the time, but I didn't go on any other visits after that. And any other school that I was talking to, I didn't think would be able to beat what UMass had to offer. And it was kind of just like a no-brainer. I fell in love with it as soon as I stepped foot on campus. And one of my best friends from high school was already going there, so I had the comfort there a little bit too. And at that time, Connor Sheary and Justin Braun, I think the Penguins and the Sharks were in the Stanley Cup final. So UMass was getting a lot of attention, and I just thought it was a really cool opportunity and a cool place. And yeah, I mean, there's not much more to it than that.
Were you at UMass at the same time as Cale Makar, or was that a little too late in your crossing the paths?
Yeah, so Cal and his freshman class came in my sophomore year. So I was just 1 year ahead of him, but I remember my entire freshman year, we'd check Twitter and we'd see Cale Makar and the Brooks Bandits are up 9-0. Makar has his 5th point of the night. And we obviously knew the hype about him going in, and I got to watch him get drafted as a UMass commit going 4th overall, which is really cool. And I remember I was at my best friend Henry's house and he was like, "You're going to be teammates with that guy? That's so sick." And I was like, "Yeah, I can't, I've never been around someone drafted that high. This is going to be nuts." Being so excited to be teammates with Cale. And then, I still remember his first day on campus was after development camp. It was actually my first day back as well. I ended up playing the Maccabi games in Israel that summer. So I missed the first 2 weeks of like our summer training, and Caleb missed the first 2 weeks for Colorado's development camp. And, it's funny. I was like so excited to see the guys again. I thought the freshmen would be so excited to like meet me, and everyone was really just so focused on Kale, and how could you not be? Like, I was even like, oh, damn, this kid like ruined my day. Like, he's coming in the same day as me. No one's going to be excited to see me.
This freshman's taking my spotlight.
Yeah, he's stealing my thunder. Not that I was important by any means, but in my head I was like, oh, the guys are gonna be so fired up. Like, it's so cool to be back. But everyone was just so excited to meet, see, and be around Kale. And ever since his first day on campus, like, he really just had that professional mentality, like not even just on the rink, but away from the rink as well. Always was a super mature kid. Also really funny, like sneaky funny. Great to be around. He lived across the hall from me, so I spent a lot of time with Kale and Mitchell Chafee, Oliver Chow, Matt Murray. Like, they were the foursome across the hall from me. And then guys like, John Leonard, Mario Ferraro, Marco Bazzo, like a couple, Phil Laganov, a couple other names come to mind. But yeah, Kale was only my teammate for about 4 or 5 months. But, it's really cool to say that I played at school with him for a little bit.
It's so funny, working at UMass, like you just threw out all those names. And I'm like, I remember doing those for the UMass and the pro thing. I would throw up on the video board in between periods. I'm like, you're going through it. And I'm like, there's so many guys who come through Carvel's program, especially in the latter part. I mean, we obviously, Robbo's been a huge part of the current program. They just had another first-round draft pick. Talk to me a little bit about Carvel and that process at UMass and kind of what you see now, because you still call games for them throughout the season. What have you seen kind of that growth in Carvel's, program from when you first kind of stepped into where the program is now?
Yeah, it's really changed a lot and changed for the better. When I first got there, it was a very intimidating environment to be in. I think everyone felt like they were basically on a tryout almost every single day. Because we were a part of Coach Carvel's recruiting class, like that first year. Like, I came in 2016-17, and that was Carr's first year, and him, Benny Barr, Jared DeMichael had put together like our freshman class, but it wasn't like, we were these highly recruited kids. And obviously everyone who was already there under the previous coaching staff, like, they had to fight for their, life, I guess, for lack of a better term. So, every day it was like, I remember, Carv said, if you're not on board, you're going to be squeezed out. If you're not a part of this culture, like, you will get exposed. Like, those were kind of the early conversations, and it was true. I remember we played Princeton. Honestly, one of my better games, actually. I had a lot of family and friends there, and I think we were in the locker room for like an hour after the game because we blew a 3-1 lead in the last 10 minutes. And I think that speech was more so like, it was right before Christmas, and it was like, this team is not going to be the same next year. Like, guys will get cut. Like, he was very brutally honest, and you got to respect, him for doing that, and all the coaches for being that way. But obviously, for guys like us, like, it was a little bit scary, like, we had dreamed of playing Division I college our entire lives, and we step in and, things are changing. So it was also a cool opportunity to be a part of that change. Even though I was there for 2 years, I'm still proud of the fact that I wore that jersey in the years that the UMass program did turn around. And that spring, I think the 12 or 13 of us that were left, we were waking up doing 6 a.m. workouts, in the off season when, typically that's your chance to be a college student and party and have fun. Like, we were still sticking to our Saturday only rule. You can only really go out and have fun, party on Saturdays, and every other day was business. And that, started the trend and follow year after year after year. And, there are guys still there now. Like, I talked to Owen Murray, who's I think going to be a senior now.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's there this summer, and he's fired up to be there in the summer. Like, when we were there, we were kind of like, oh man, like, we're missing out on our summer. Like, the mentality has just shifted. And these kids now, not that we weren't committed to the game, but like, you learn so much, and Carv really has his players fully bought in, and you're not going to succeed at UMass if you're not. And that's just the way it is. So we had to learn a lot quickly. And I know I kind of have gotten a little off topic, and I'm sure you wanted me to talk about like the names of guys that have been recruited ever since. But, I will say, as much as our class, I really feel like helped establish this new mass phrase, it was really Kale's class and Mario and Chafee and Leonard and Chow and those guys who came in and turned it all around, especially on the ice. I mean, those guys were unbelievable players.
I think, somebody, as I've mentioned, and our listeners who know me know I work there, and it's like seeing those guys day in and day out and the culture that they build, like hearing you talk about, like, we were building stone one, and like now where it's at, it's like again, like I was pumped to see those dudes in the summer because it's in athletics. There's nobody really around anyway, so like seeing those
Ghost
dudes
town.
is great. And then like going down to the rink and like just seeing them practice, and they practice so hard, and it's like obviously no one's trying to hurt themselves, but it looks like it's a war out there when they're practicing. It's like, and hearing you talk about that and building up, you guys were brick one is really awesome to kind of hear. I guess kind of lightly touching upon, you were at UMass for 2 years. You then went to Mercyhurst for your final 2. Talk to me a little bit about kind of that, time at Mercyhurst. Don't have to talk about what happened, going there, but kind of talk to me about, going there, being, I guess Mercyhurst is in New York, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm correct.
Yeah, Erie, Pennsylvania, but like right near Buffalo. Yeah.
Talk to me about going there and that kind of culture shift for you, and then, we'll dive into life after hockey here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I don't want to say I have any regrets, but it's one that I always wonder, like, what if I had stayed?
Mm-hmm.
At the time I was just basically acting on emotion. I'm not, I'm open enough to say like what happened to like, Carv and the coaching staff basically told me my sophomore year, like, you're never going to be an every night guy here. And as a sophomore, it's like, oh, fuck, like I got 3 more years of this, you know what I mean? So all I cared about at the time was playing hockey. And I was like, I knew Greg Gardner at Mercyhurst. We had a great relationship. I knew he'd treat me well and give me an opportunity. But again, like, it was a year of sitting out and redshirting. And Benny Barr, like, said to me, he's like, I don't know if you'll be able to handle that. And I took that as a test, and Benny honestly ultimately was probably right. Like, it was a really hard year to sit out and not travel and not playing games. And it's funny, like I always like took pride in the fact that I was a very social person. And when I left UMass, I like wasn't thinking about like my social life at all. I was only thinking about hockey, because when I wasn't playing my sophomore year, that affected my social life. Like, I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was like ashamed of like what my hockey career was turning into, that I just had no confidence away from the rink. And at Mercyhurst, that turned around. Like, I was playing again. It was great to be on the ice. Like, it was great to be a part of the team again, because you kind of felt like you're not really a part of it when you're getting scratched every game at UMass. But then the social aspect of it, like, yeah, like everyone was super nice, but the school was only like 4,000 students. I think my high school was bigger. At UMass, it's like 25,000. You kind of feel like you're in a world of your own. And Mercyhurst was just not like that at all. Like, you kind of go out and you see the same people, and it's kind of just the same thing. And being a kid from New York, it's like, it just wasn't really fulfilling enough for me from a social standpoint. And that's why, honestly, like, but that's why I don't have regrets, because I joined like, the student advisory committee. I interned for the Otters. Like, I was trying so hard to just get out of my comfort zone. And I think that has really helped me in my career. And I think my media career really started at Mercyhurst. So like, there are so many positives from it, but like when I was living through it, I was like fully depressed my junior year. Like, I was seeing a therapist. Like, I had a full on like panic attack on New Year's Eve my junior year. Like, I'll never forget it. Like, called my parents hysterically crying. Like, it was just, I don't know, like, it's crazy, like, what sports can kind of do to your mentality a little bit. Like, you just feel like it's your whole world. And it's hard to tell a kid who's playing, Division I hockey that there's more to life than hockey. Because when you're in it, that's really all there is. I've learned a lot. But yeah, those years were pretty night and day from my time at UMass.
Well, I appreciate you opening up and being truthful and honest for our listeners, and kind of staying on. I got one last kind of like wrap up of your kind of collegiate career here, and then we'll shift over. Best barn to play in, not named the Mullen Center.
Maine, Alphon Arena by far.
That place is banana.
Yeah.
That thing is banana lands.
So fun. Like, the fans are like on top of you. They're so loud. Yeah, that rink is awesome. I hope they never like renovate it. Like, it's such a classic college hockey rink.
As they're renovating it as we speak.
Are they right now? Shit. Well,
they're
actually, no, I knew that. Yeah, I knew that.
They're keeping core of it the same. Just, I think they're giving it like a huge kind of like facelift.
Just like an upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great rink. I thought Minnesota was awesome. Lucky enough, my freshman year, we played at Fenway Park. I mean, you can't really beat that. That was pretty sick. Yeah. But those are just the few that stand out.
So moving on here, talk to me a little bit about, obviously, you do stuff, again, do some stuff with the Rangers and covering them. You have daily face-off with Colby on YouTube and Twitter, and I love seeing those takes. And obviously, NHL's really starting to really bring in a lot of creators to try and really help elevate the brand. Talk to me about how you kind of got started after college, and how did it lead you to this kind of social media I don't want to say personality, but this media career that you've created for yourself in hockey?
Yeah, it started in college. My junior year, I think. Yeah, my junior year, I was doing this like talk show called The Laker Effect. I was interviewing student athletes, and actually my sophomore year at UMass, I was working in the media department, like while I was playing for the team. So I got to learn, a little bit from Jill Jakuba, who's
Shout
really
out
incredible.
Jill.
Yeah, Jill. She's unbelievable, and she was super helpful to guys like me, Kurt Keats, Austin Plevy, Jake Horton, like a lot of us that played on the team, like worked in the media department too. Obviously a great resume builder as well. But my junior year, I just started like posting these interviews on YouTube with Leah Kern and Chris Mikowski. Leah played for the volleyball team. Chris played on the hockey team with me. And I just loved interviewing people. And my senior year, I started interviewing like Erie Otters players. I had an internship with them, so I was talking to guys like Jamie Drysdale, Chad Yetman, who's maybe not as popular of a name, but had a good AHL career. I think he's playing overseas right now. Great kid. Brennan Hoffman, another one playing the ECHL. But I just like fell in love with like showing fans the fun side of the game. And when I graduated in 2020, it was like peak COVID, and I was doing my own podcast, like kind of putting out my own clips, interviewing people. And I feel bad saying it, but it's true. Like COVID was probably the best thing that could have happened to me, because I was reaching out to, guys like Kenny Albert and talking to people like Adam Fox, and even Kale, I think, who did something with me. Like, just people had so much time on their hands that they were more than willing to sit for 30 minutes and talk on a podcast. And that's when podcasts really took off, right? Because everyone figured out how to do interviews through the computer. So I just loved doing it, and COVID gave me a lot of time in my hands, and that's kind of where it all started.
Awesome. I guess now let's go ahead and jump in kind of the meat and bones a little bit here, kind of talking. Let's just talk a little puck here. I think I want to stay in the college realm for a couple questions, and we'll jump over to the NHL, because Gavin McKenna obviously committed to Penn State. I believe the rumor NIL deal is $700,000. Some people are taking it as, this is drastically changing maybe the way college hockey is going, obviously with the CHL being introduced. But talk to me a little bit about your opinion, because on my side of things, like Macklin Celebrini was just at BU less than a year and a half ago. So kind of give me kind of quick thoughts on that, and does that kind of move from Gavin McKenna like drastically change the state of college hockey, I guess?
I think so. And, the big debate is like that the NCAA is now going to steal players from the CHL, but I don't think it should be looked at that way. I think the CHL obviously has a business model and has been successful over the years, but I think the main goal and objective right now is to make college hockey the number one stepping stone before going to the NHL. And I think if the CHL and USHL can get on the same page, which the USHL has been on for years, it's developing the most elite 16 to 18-year-olds to get them prepared for college, and then hopefully, those kids thrive in college and make it to the NHL. Like, that's what the CHL, to me, should be doing. Like, they shouldn't look at this as a loss of Gavin McKenna. I mean, I think McKenna played 3 years there already because he had exceptional status, and I think he just won the league trophy. So it's a pretty successful it's a pretty successful adventure already for McKenna. Like, him going back there makes no sense, and his progression, like, why not let him go to college and thrive and play against men? And I think him, and there's another prospect actually who I was just reading about before, who I'm not really aware of in the WHL. I believe his name is Keaton Verhoff. Apparently, he's right now the projected number 2 overall pick. He played in the WHL as well, and I think he's committed to North Dakota and will be going there this year as well, or maybe next year, maybe one more year from now. I'm not too sure on that. I got to do more research on him. I was literally just looking at it like 30 minutes ago. This is what's going to happen. I think, the best 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, they're going to go play junior hockey. They're going to develop, and they're going to grow, and they're going to promote junior hockey just the same way it's been for years. And then once they're ready, once they're 18, either they're drafted or maybe even after they're already drafted, they'll go do that 1 year, maybe 2 years in college, and then go to the NHL. I mean, there is no rush to get to the NHL. We've seen so many 18-year-old kids, get to the NHL after being drafted first overall and not thrive right away. So why make it a rush? But Gavin McKenna certainly has, I think that's a landmark moment for college hockey, to land someone who basically has the same kind of hype as like Bedard and McDavid and those kinds of players.
I guess a follow-up is, are you surprised that it was Penn State and maybe not like a true blue blood of like BU or BC, like stealing, like obviously we just mentioned North Dakota, But like, I was kind of surprised he didn't go to one of those blue bloods. Obviously, money is a different conversation when you throw the NIL in. But are you a little bit surprised that it was Penn State, given, obviously they just came off an incredible Frozen Four run, but still, I was still a little surprised that it was Penn State and not one of those blue bloods that we know.
Honestly, like, I'm not saying this to sound smart, but I'm not surprised at all. Penn State was my dream school. I visited there in 11th grade in high school, and it was before that rink was even built, but I got to watch some games once Pagula was up, and that place is just, to me,
sweet.
it should be every college kid's dream to play there. Again, like, it's called Happy Valley. It's kind of like UMass, but like times 3. It's that big of a school. You're in your own world. There's no city really nearby. Anyone who goes to Penn State, it's a community. And you feel that when you're an athlete there. Like, one of my best friends, Stam Sternstein, played there for 4 years. And again, like, he just said it was the best time of his life. Like, and again, I'm sure most people say that about their college experience. But with Penn State, and I would recommend anyone watching or listening to this to go check out the Penn State Hockey Story. It's like a YouTube series that they do. It's kind of like their own version of Behind the Beat. It is. I watched that as like a kid and as like a college hockey player. I was just so enamored with everything that Penn State represents. And obviously, when you throw in the money, it's a no-brainer. But Gavin McKenna is going to be, hopefully, like what Saquon Barkley was for Penn State. Micah Parsons, I think he was another Penn Stater. Like,
these guys, launched the program into a stratosphere.
Exactly. Like, these guys who are just the big names on campus. And like, I personally think every hockey player that's good enough should be able to feel that one day. Even me, like, when we weren't good at UMass and I wasn't even one of the better players on the team, like, you just feel kind of like, I don't know, you're so proud to be a student athlete at certain schools. And I know from talking to friends and stuff that have played there, every kid who puts on that Penn State jersey is just like, you're in a brotherhood for life. Like, their alumni base is unbelievable. And Gavin McKenna, like, let's say his NHL career doesn't pan out to what everyone thinks it'll be, he's still going to have that Penn State representation. So I think it's a no-brainer for him, and I'm happy he's going there. I think Penn State is a great school to get behind and a great school to root for, and Guy Gadowski is an incredible guy, incredible coach, and I'm excited to watch their games this year.
Kind of jumping over to the NHL side, free agency happened earlier this month. Talk to me a little bit about a team that you thought crushed free agency and really put themselves like in a great position this season, whether that's going maybe deeper into the playoffs or a team that didn't make the playoffs has a real legit chance to make the playoffs this year.
I'm actually going to use like a sleeper, honestly. They didn't really do much. They made really one move, but they signed Mikael Granlund. That's the Anaheim Ducks. I think Anaheim is like a team on the rise. Obviously they haven't made the playoffs in quite a few years, but the young talent on that roster, like Leo Carlson's going to be a stud. Cutter Gauthier had a great second half of the year. We watched him in Hockey East light it up. I think he had like 38 goals in 41 games 2 years ago.
He was nuts. He was nuts.
Obviously Troy Terry's like kind of in his prime right now. Frankie Vetrano, Ryan Strome, like just great guys and good players.
Tavish is going to be great for them as well.
On the back end, Lacombe, Minchikov, Zellweger, Dostal, who had a great year. They're just a young, hungry team that's ready to make that next step. And I think I said it like in an episode on our show like a couple weeks ago, like that's probably going to be my hottest take is that Anaheim makes the playoffs this year.
I'm kind of in the same boat with you, honestly. Like when I saw them sign Granlund and obviously they traded for Kreider, I believe, as well. I was like, this is a team that's like, we're not going to wait for the young guys to fully develop. We're going to bring in some veterans. We're all going to develop at the same time. And we're going to try and expedite this process. And I really loved what they've done. I also loved a little bit of like what Montreal did and what Utah did. Montreal going big and getting Dobson, and then a sneaky trade with the Blues getting a nice forward in Bolduc, I think is also a really nice touch over in Montreal. And just, with Lane Hudson, and gosh, he's going to be so special. And now you pair him up with Dobson. It's just, it's scary what they could look like in a couple years.
Well, for me, also like it wasn't like a highly sought after free agency class. So like that's why I think the teams that like didn't make a ton of moves like are better off.
Yeah, I think the Blues did some sneaky good stuff, and that I'm a huge Blues fan, so I think they did some sneaky stuff. Tampa does, some small things. And all the Florida Panthers did is just re-sign all their guys who were going to become free agents. They didn't add anybody big. So
yeah, they're going to be dangerous again. I mean, it's hard to not pick them as a favorite this year, right?
I mean, when you re-sign everybody, including Marchand and you still have Bravosky. I think I said it on a previous episode. I was like, depending on what Tampa Bay decides they're going to be, like, if they can get through Tampa every year, they're going to the Cup final, in my opinion, like every year. Unless, Carolina traded for Keandre Miller, but I could see that working out for them, fitting in that system better than where he was in New York. But also Carolina just always seems to just like run out of gas a little bit towards the end or something. So it's a little bit of like, I'm perplexed a little bit by Carolina. I'm interested to see if that works out for them.
I think it will. I think Keandre Miller, is a guy who had to simplify his game a lot. I think he overcomplicated things at times in New York, and I think there was pressure for him to be such an offensive player when I don't know if the instincts are really there. He's shown flashes of it, but not consistently. I think Carolina, the way they play, they have the puck in their opponent's zone for 2/3 of the game. They're the best ice tilt when it comes to stats, as far as controlling the play. And there isn't a team to me in the NHL that plays a simpler style. So for Keandre, it should be a seamless fit for him, where he doesn't have to think so much. He can just kind of go out there and play and not worry about all the pressure and worry about putting up 40, 50 points every year. He can just go there and play hockey and be a piece of that puzzle that they've already established in Carolina. Again, I just think for him, there has been flashes. And playing for Rod, again, he's had 3 coaches in the last 6 years. Playing for Rod Brindamore, an established system.
That's going to be really beneficial for
him.
That's
been successful too. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll thrive.
I guess on the flip side, talk to me about a team that you felt didn't do enough in free agency, or they lost so many pieces that they're now they're not, unidentified. Now they lost so many guys in free agency, and now the team's completely different.
Well, it sounds like you have one in mind.
Yeah, I'm going with Dallas. I think Dallas lost all, losing Granlund, Marshman, CC, Dananov. Just to name a few, it's a whole different team. Not to mention you just flipped over the entire coaching staff, which I don't know what Pete DeBoer thought he was going to do by, bashing your franchise goalie, but I think Dallas is in a weird spot, and now they also look like they're going to have no cap for the next God knows how many years. So it's they really are kind of strapped with the dudes they got, and I felt like they could have maybe made some sneaky free agent signings. I'm not quite sure who those would have been, but some depth forward guys probably could have helped because they were so banged up. But Dallas was the first team I thought of. I wrote it down on my notes. I was like, Dallas lost so many pieces.
I get curious with Tampa. Usually Tampa is one of those teams that makes a lot of noise in free agency day. Obviously they signed, or I think it was maybe a sign and trade last year. I kind of forget how Gensel got there. I think it was a sign and trade.
I think it was.
Yeah. Kucherov's deal is up in 2 years. I think Vasilevsky's deal is coming up in 3 years. So you look at Tampa. Kind of on that team. Points signed long term, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, he's locked in longer.
Yeah, Point, Gensel, Hagel, and Hedman are locked in, but Kucherov and Vasilevsky have 2 and 3 years left, and it's Tampa's got to do everything they can to take another run at the they can't get past Florida now, so they got to do everything they can to put together another Cup team in the next 2-3 years, because obviously it'd be more what's the word I'm looking for? It's more likely than not that Kucherov and Vasilevsky will probably extend there, but when those two are done or their contracts are up, who are the Tampa Bay Lightning, right?
Yeah.
So I was surprised that Tampa didn't really make any noise on free agency day, and curious to see what they can do this year to take another shot at it, because their window is probably closing more than it's opening now. That said, they're still, to me, one of the better teams in the NHL. I thought they were going to beat Florida in the first round. I took them to win. I'm pretty sure I took them to win the Eastern Conference. So I have faith in them, but I thought they'd make some sort of splash, which they didn't.
Yeah, I have a bunch of, I grew up in Tampa and went to high school down there, and Tampa Bay is the lifeblood now of that kind of city. But looking at it now, it's I don't really know outside of what those names you mentioned. Obviously, Yanni Gourde's back and Sorelli. Mm-hmm. It just feels like they never have enough juice, even though on paper they should have plenty. But then the eye test tells you they're just getting stomped by the Florida forecheck and Paul Maurice. And Vasilevsky's trying everything he can to save this team, but when it's that hellacious of a forecheck, it's really tough for them. Another team I wrote down was Winnipeg because they lost Ehlers, Appleton, like some really, important depth pieces to them. That was and Tanev I wrote down, but those were the teams that I kind of thought of immediately in that sense.
Yeah,
I guess
Winnipeg's a good one.
Yeah. I guess final question for me, going back to your UMass days, Antonio's Pizza. You walk in. I feel like there's only one right answer to this, but it's what slice are you getting from Antonio's?
I was the chicken parm slice, I think.
Wow.
I don't know what was the right bacon egg or chicken bacon ranch. Was that the one?
Chicken bacon ranch was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Little CDR.
I didn't love ranch at the time. Ranch has grown on me since. But chicken parm was the one for me.
What is, I guess, kind of just, don't want to take up too much of your time, but what is it like now still going back to UMass, calling those games? Obviously you went back in 16 and, the place may not have changed. The building structure honestly hasn't changed since the 90s, but what is it like going back, still feeling kind of that Amherst and the vibe and that fan base is such a proud hockey fan base as well.
Yeah, it's weird for me just because I didn't graduate there and I transferred. So I do have this like weird relationship with it, but like even when I left, I had no hard feelings toward the program or toward my friends. Like I stayed in touch with everybody, or I tried to. And obviously over the years you kind of lose touch with guys a little bit. But like when they made it to the Frozen Four, that 2019 year, the year after I left, like I was at both games talking to guys, and I always kept in touch with Carv and Tommy Upton, who's the assistant coach now. I actually played for at Mercyhurst, and like Carv called me when Tommy was up for the job and asked me like my thoughts on him. So I always like stayed close to the program, and like obviously, Josh Penn, Mark Paquette, like those guys too. The training staff and equipment staff obviously have close places to my heart as well. So like for me going back there, it's great, but it's like I played 30 games there, so like it's weird. That's what's kind of. That's like the regret I have a little bit, like what could have been if I stayed there for all four, like what my relationship would be like with that school. But it is the school that also gave me a chance to live out my dream and play Division I hockey. So like I do owe everything to them for giving me that chance. Even if it didn't go well or go the way I had hoped, like I still got to wear the jersey. I got to be, a part of that program. I got to be a part of the turnaround. Like I got to feel like I was one of the best hockey player, like it's a top percentage to play Division I. So I owe them a lot for that. And I'm thankful that they welcomed me with open arms, knowing that I didn't graduate from there. So it's great. Like I love it. I love the school. I love the people. Jay Burnham, Nathan Strauss, Tyler Murray now is with the Knicks. All these great people that I've worked with in broadcasting since I've gone back there. It's just it's been great. And I'm going back on Sunday actually to work the hockey camp. So
there you go.
I should shout out Steve Trachtenberg. He's like one of my best friends. He's the reason I even got the job. Yeah, so it's great. Like I love it. And as you get older, like the weekends, that you get to work become more fun than like dreadful. Like I love going back to the rink on a Saturday and like calling a game. It's the best. So I love it.
I guess final question, though I said this like 3 times. I guess
it's okay. I do that all the time.
Favorite call that you've done or favorite play you've seen calling games here at UMass?
Favorite play I've seen? I mean,
yeah, either way you want to take it.
Yeah, it's actually like not even like a UMass call per se. This past year, Don Zlashmilis, who his name is making rounds.
The Boyja save.
My God, like me and Nathan lost it on the broadcast. We couldn't believe it. Boya went from left to right, like dove like Superman head first and made that save. It was 2-2, I think. Late in the third, UMass had the puck in their zone probably for like 5 minutes. Like you can just feel that next goal coming. It was premature celebrating when Boya had the wide open, or Lashmelis had the wide open net, and Boya made that sprawling save. I mean, if you go back and watch that clip, you can hear me and Nathan just going nuts. Like that was such a crazy 5 minutes of hockey. Probably the most entertaining hockey I've ever broadcasted for.
Well, Jonny, I appreciate you coming on. Anytime you feel free to come on. Might ask you to come back on before October. Get a couple preseason hockey picks. Catch them on all socials. I'll include them in when I do post-production here. And then, this has been the deal with D&J. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thanks, Jacob. Appreciate it.
Next Tuesday, Monday and Tuesday, one of the two, being the first real day of NFL training camp. So let's go ahead and let's dive into some of the biggest storylines that we're going to be watching for, what we think is going to potentially happen, what to maybe take a look at going into camps, and so on and so forth.
Can I pitch something to you real quick? Right on the dot. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Why don't you pick your 3 biggest topics and you ask me what I think about them before you give your spiel, and then I'll do the same thing with my 3 biggest ones.
Okay, works for me.
Is that okay with you? This is your podcast today. You're running this show, but I just needed to interject.
There's storylines regardless, but DJ just wants the Riverside software to catch him talking is the reason why he wants this.
That's so... I can't even think of the word because you got me so angry.
Frustrating, infuriating.
No, basically called me selfish.
You could look at it the other way of me being selfish because all I do is post clips of myself.
Fair enough. No, but I was like, I want to know what your 3 biggest topics are, right?
Yeah.
And like we could go back and forth or whatever, but I was just like, I'll just throw it out there and let me go, because you formed your opinion already on the topic that you have, and then we can debate based on, what you throw out there.
Yeah, I guess, the first major storyline that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, is what's unfolding in Indianapolis right now.
You bastard.
Yeah, like what's happening in Indianapolis, like, I mean, you got Daniel Jones, the kind of the exalted hero of New York, and then you have Anthony Richardson, the failed savior of the Indianapolis Colts. So you have two, not Island of Misfit Toys, but you got 2 guys competing for the QB1 spot, and you got a lot of eggs in a basket with Anthony Richardson. Give me your thoughts before I give my full thoughts.
I mean, you're right. They're not. I mean, Daniel Jones is more of a misfit toy than Anthony Richardson is, but it's definitely the island of just question marks, right? Indianapolis put literally all their eggs in one basket, drafting Anthony Richardson at number 4, which, if we can find the clip, I will make sure I send it Jacob of me saying that is just the most ridiculous decision ever, trying to experiment with a freak athlete at the number 4 spot, whose only thing was that he can run. Like, yes, he's got a cannon for an arm, but I've got a cannon for an arm too. Doesn't mean I should be drafted number 4 in the draft. But he's actually healthy coming into this training camp after a serious arm injury. And then you got Daniel Jones, who's not flashy, questionable decision making, but also led a New York Giants team to a playoff run after a long period of time. They didn't do anything in that playoff run, and they were kind of led by Saquon Barkley. But you're going to have a good backfield. Like running this, I want to say run pass option, but like this offense that is 2-way, right, really benefits Daniel Jones. And I think pass accuracy is going to be the number 1 thing going into this training camp, right? Who is more accurate throwing the football? And I think that's the only way, because you've got 2 studs, if I'm not mistaken, in Jonathan Taylor and TreVeyon Henderson, right? TreVeyon Henderson went to the Colts.
He went to New England. They just have Jonathan Taylor. They didn't draft
anybody. I don't know why
anybody.
I thought TreVeyon Henderson was the Colt.
Don't know. You're thinking of Tyler Warren got drafted by the Colts.
Tyler Warren, which, helps with the...
Even close to TreVeyon Henderson. Not even close.
No.
I think, let me interject. Let me interject here. I do agree it is going to be a battle of accuracy because Daniel Jones is not accurate with the deep ball, but he's good intermediate and short. And Anthony Richardson is an insane accurate deep ball thrower. But if I asked him to hit you, DJ, on a 5-yard crossing route, he couldn't do that.
Arguably a 20-yard out.
Yeah, like not even within his range of comprehension there. I do think if you're Shane Steichen, the Colts head coach over there, Anthony Richardson is your guy, right? But you don't bring in a guy like Daniel Jones if Daniel Jones isn't going to compete for your starting job. And the thing is the Colts have all the weapons now. They're giving Anthony Richardson no excuses to not figure this out. Because he has Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, and Alec Pierce as wide receiver 1, 2, and 3. They just added Tyler Warren, a dynamic tight end, freak athlete who can help block in the run game and go be dynamic down the field. And then you add in the Jonathan Taylor bit and, whoever the backup will be that gets plenty of touches for them. Then where are the excuses for Anthony Richardson, right? And Daniel Jones might be able to execute this offense a lot better because Anthony Richardson just may want to scramble out too much. I don't really know. Apparently, the Colts really like him, like Daniel Jones. I do think Anthony Richardson's on the shortest leash he's ever had. And I think the Anthony Richardson experiment, whatever you want to call this is the final year of it. If he can't get the Colts to the playoffs, or at least in the playoff hunt, then they're done. That's a failed experiment. You need to move on. You need to find a new quarterback. And especially if he continues to have injuries, then it's, you can't keep having this either. And Daniel Jones, not going to say he's the franchise guy, but he's kind of like, he could have a Geno Smith type of resurrection almost, or Sam Darnold type of resurrection, where he could be pretty successful for a year for the Colts, and maybe you think about bringing him back on a short-term deal. But if I had to make a prediction of who gets the starting job out of camp, I do think it'll be Anthony Richardson, but not because he's better. It's just because he is the horse that has the most money on him.
So the Colts went 8-9 and finished second in their division, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
who was their quarterback when Anthony Richardson got hurt? Believe it was Joe Flacco.
For the Colts?
Was it not?
Let's find out real quick. I've got an advertisement stuck on my screen. I love how difficult it is to get stats up here on ESPN. You can let me know if that's right or wrong. You might be right. That sounds familiar because the Browns got rid of Flacco before that, right? Before last year.
Yep, Joe Flacco started for 2 games, not 2 games.
Okay.
After pulling Anthony Richardson in favor of the veteran Joe Flacco 2 weeks ago, the Colts announced that he's reversing course and saying Richardson's going to be the starter for the remainder of the campaign.
Okay, so regardless of that, Colts went 8-9. I think the leash on Richardson, yes, playoff hunt is definitely a hope. I think you got to go above 500, right? For him to be ex-made from the Colts experiment, if they go below 500, he might be out. But I am also under the impression that's if your scenario works out how it is. I think if he gets above 500, I think they keep him. But I think Daniel Jones is the guy for this team, right? The team is built around this run game, which Daniel Jones is phenomenal at running, right? In the short game, if it comes down to accuracy within a 20-yard limit, Daniel Jones can throw a ball far. He's got the ability to. But this offense is going to be very, very tight, thrown within the markers or between the hashes, excuse me. And they're going to rely a lot on the short game and their run game. And I really think that Daniel Jones's operation under center is going to be the one that fuels this team. So with that being said, barring, the worst performance, in training camp, I think Daniel Jones wins his starting job. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but my ability to believe in Anthony Richardson has been slim since his days at Florida. So that's what I got.
Yeah, I like Daniel Jones's chance a lot, but I just don't think Anthony Richardson's that good. He
never was. He never was. That's the issue.
He has insane arm talent, but taking such a risk with that pick 4 way back, it's a little mind-boggling looking back.
I try a 6'5", 225-pound running back. Now That could be something to watch. I could get behind that for Anthony Richardson, or maybe a wide receiver for Anthony Richardson. And you know the amount of trick plays you can run with him as well? Insane work. So, Jacob, my big headline going into training camp is going to be the Detroit Lions. This is a brand new team going into the 2025 season, losing both their offensive and defensive coordinators. They're replacing their defensive coordinator with Kelvin Shepard, right? Familiar with the team. I think that's a great promotion from within, right? You keep somebody familiar with the team. The Detroit Lions defense was a force to be reckoned with last year. And again, he was replacing Aaron Glenn, who is now the head coach of the Jets. I am not as worried about that aspect as much as I am the offensive side of the ball, who, the defense faced some injuries but still stood up strong, but you could tell where people were attacking the defensive side. But John Morton, also familiar with the team, he's returning after being their senior offensive assistant, right? So familiarity with the offense, but that was even before it turned into this powerhouse that they were last year, right? And maybe even the year before. What are your thoughts for how the Lions pick up? I know I was supposed to ask you first and what your thoughts were, and I, shocker, it went over my head. But what are you expecting from this Detroit Lions team going into training camp? What are some key points that you're looking at?
I think it'll still be the same old Lions. I do think the creativity in terms of the offensive side of the ball is gonna, we're not gonna see a fake fumble play thrown for a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we're gonna see that much more. I think that's left with Ben Johnson. I do think that, working with Jared Goff, and Jared Goff knows the offense. Dan Campbell's not gonna really want to change from what's working them. But the Lions are a pretty simple football team. Hard-nosed running, establish it, play action, St. Brown or Jamison Williams down the field. Oh, and if you want to go over the middle, they have Laporta. Or they can check it down to Thunder and, Sonic and Knuckles, and that's, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. I do think the defensive side of the ball is an interesting question because, they are going to get healthier. Right, and what they did when they had absolutely everybody banged up, I think is going to be really beneficial for them. But again, I think defensively is the bigger question mark than the offense, just given all the injuries, new DC. And the NFC North's not getting any easier. The Vikings have Kevin O'Connell, and they're getting JJ McCarthy, which, I'm going to let you save that for a headline for me later. But, JJ McCarthy, the Packers, they still have Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur and a really, really good defense. And Josh Jacobs can run the ball down your throat. And then you're looking at the Bears, who should take that next step up, right, with Ben Johnson at the helm. And they have all the weapons in the world now. DeAndre Swift, and Loveland. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams, retooling the offensive line. A really good defense to start with, too. So it's not going to get any easier for the Lions, but I do think the Lions, I think will be fine. I think the offensive side of the ball is going to be a little bit more simpler. I don't think they're going to be as creative offensively, but I do expect them to stay with the similar type of being aggressive, going for it on fourth down, getting unique with the ball, but not to the same level that Ben Johnson was.
Where do you see this team finishing this year?
I think they still win the division. There's too much talent on that team to not win the division. They gotta get ravaged by injuries to not win. Jared Goff's got to go down, or they lose. No, I think the Lions still win that division.
No, I agree. I like, again, the defense. I really think the offense and the play scheme, that's where it's really going to change with bringing this new hire in. So like you said, promoting a defensive or a linebackers coach to your defensive coordinator doesn't necessarily change the scheme, as he's already familiar with what everybody does. But an offensive assistant from 2022, right, when the Lions were still really bad, before all these, these prospects actually made their, I believe that's even pre-Aiden Hutchinson, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I think it really speaks to Dan Campbell as a coach going forward. But again, I believe he is the defensive mastermind as well. That kind of helps with that. I think the decision making is going to be just as rigorous and just as high tempo and exciting for the fans as well. But I am firmly believing that the offense is going to be the biggest question mark. I also picked them to win the division too. Sorry, you're good. I'm everywhere. I'm sorry.
I guess the next storyline is kind of it's multiple quarterbacks, but it's the same type of quarterback. Is guys like Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, Geno Smith. Maybe we can throw Aaron Rodgers in this kind of category, but we kind of know that this is his last season, so it doesn't really kind of matter. I guess we can maybe throw Jordan Love in this category potentially, but he doesn't really fit the mold of this category. But it's quarterbacks that are at a new team after one good season. Geno has a little bit more than one good season, but it's like Darnold, Fields, Geno, can they prove that they're the franchise guy? Am I missing any other quarterbacks on this list that, haven't been paid that type of money or are trying to get that, large I mean, Darnold kind of got it, but if you really look at the deal, they can cut him after one season if they really wanted to.
No, whoever ends up starting for the Browns could be one.
But that just feels like it's a 1-year filler because they're going to try and get a quarterback. I would have said Derek Carr in this category, but he's out, but he retired. Maybe we could throw Kirk Cousins in the mix, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to win back the starting job in Atlanta.
No, but you could throw in Michael Penix.
Yeah, but he's a rookie though. Second year guy. This is Justin Fields. Justin Fields is on his third or fourth team now. Darnold is on his fifth team. Geno's on his, third or fourth team as well. Geno's a little bit on the older side. Sam Darnold is going to try and prove if it was him or if it was O'Connell. And Justin Fields. No, because I never believe in Spencer Rattler anyways. And Justin Fields is trying to just prove to everybody that he's a competent NFL quarterback.
Right.
So, I don't, I guess New York, we can look at Russell Wilson as well.
Russell Wilson, that's a good pull.
Because the question is, how long does he stay the starter before they give it to Jackson Dart? I think that's a very interesting storyline, especially the New York Giants. I mean, we got to keep an eye on, it's Russell's team to start, but when do they turn the page to, Dart as well? I think that's the storyline I'm keeping an eye on is, Darnold, Smith, Wilson, Fields, these guys who need to prove that they're a good quarterback.
Okay, I think that's a very nice broad topic. Let's just start with, just because his picture popped up real quick, Justin Fields, right? You just signed Garrett Wilson, right, to an extension. I believe it was $80 million guaranteed, something insane for a wide receiver who's not regarded as top 5 is in his position group. And you've gotten some upgrades on the offensive line. You've got a great running back. You've got great wideouts. Though they did lose Devontae Adams, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Devontae Adams is with the Rams now.
Yep.
Where do you see Justin Fields making this leap?
I don't. I've never been able to see the Justin Fields leap. Everybody keeps what I think has ruined the NFL in terms of their logic of quarterbacks is the Lamar Jackson experiment, right? The dual threat guy who can throw insane, he can run all over the place. That's what Jaden Daniels is, right?
Right.
Very carbon copy. That's what they thought Anthony Richardson was going to be. But they kind of more thought he was going to be like Jalen Hurts. And they really thought Justin Fields was going to be like Lamar, but maybe a bit more of a pocket passer. And I don't think Justin Fields is that good. I think he's always had an inaccuracy problem. I've always thought that he can't really throw super accurately. I think he's not great of evading the pocket. feel like he takes unwanted hits sometimes, and I do think sometimes he runs before he throws, and he's not focused in that realm. I'm right now, I'm not the biggest Justin Fields believer. Maybe I was back when we were doing, draft stuff, but like him in New York, I don't expect much out of the New York Jets, if I'm being quite honest with you. I'm just not. They have so many other issues than Justin Fields, and it just feels like Justin Fields is just like, I don't know. You're trying to stop a sinking ship with duct tape. It's just not going to work out really well. I do like the Garrett Wilson signing. I do like the Sauce Gardner signing. They have two really good running backs in Braylon Allen and Breece Hall. They got Mason Taylor to be the running back, be the tight end. Excuse me. They do have a decent elite defense that can be bolstered up now with Aaron Glenn. But it's Justin Fields is like putting a NASCAR like engine, all these parts around him, but he's a Toyota Camry. Like while he's kind of reliable, he's not exactly the car that you want with that type of engine. So I don't have a ton of hope for Justin Fields. If they make the playoffs, I will consider this New York Jets thing an experiment. Like not experiment. I would consider the New York Jets Fields experiment a success.
Like playoffs is the bottom line for you, or like the bottom for this to be a success.
I mean, for me, it's playoff hunt. If you're in a playoff hunt and it's like, like 9-8 to me, especially given how weak the AFC East is, like to me, you got to beat New England twice and split with Miami. And maybe steal one from the Bills. And that's what? 4 wins right there out of your own division?
Yeah, I like your 3. I like your win 2, split 1, and I mean I'll give them 2 losses to the Bills because they're going to be a phenomenal. They're going to be a wrecking ball this year.
Like you just gotta go ahead.
I said, do you think this is Fields' best chance to prove himself? Like I think he did well for the Steelers.
It's his last chance. I think it's his last chance.
Despite last, I mean, right? Like he got the starting job for the Steelers. Well, with being that Russell Wilson was injured, he went 3-1 with the Steelers.
Good. He was good, but then the offense was super limited, though. Like there's a reason why
they went more limited than it was with Wilson, though.
Wilson can
what can Wilson do that Fields can't?
Air it out, be like a little bit more accurate at the court. Like look at the yards down the field. Look at the numbers. It'll tell you that Russell Wilson airs the ball out. When Russell Wilson was a quarterback, they got George Pickens more involved. And when they got George Pickens more involved, they started winning more games. We'll talk about the Steelers later and down towards when we get closer to football season. But I think this is Fields' best chance because this is the best team he has the most talent around. I do think the O-line worries me a little bit with the Jets, but he's throwing to Garrett Wilson. He's got Breece Hall, a great running back. I do agree. This is probably his best chance. He's on a 2-year deal, maybe 3, I can't remember. But I also do believe this is his last chance before he ends up being a perpetual NFL backup.
This stat says 2024, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1,100 yards, 93.34 passer rating in those games.
Listen, if Justin Fields was so good, he wouldn't have lost the starting job back to Russell Wilson. That's all I'm going to say.
3-1 in those games. I'm just saying.
I'm also just saying, if he was so good, he would have won the starting job back.
I digress.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is a point to be had there, but I just don't think that he had technically won. I don't think he won the starting job before the season. He came out, won 3 out of 4 games, and then when Wilson was healthy, they just gave it back to him. So I think for the last one that I'm going to hit today, Jacob, it's going to be 2. It's a 2-part. If I'm going to be as broad as you, you were broad, I'm going to consolidate it to one state right here, and that's going to be the state of Ohio. One being Shamar Stewart not signing his contract. The other is Quinshon Judkins not signing his contract and also finding himself in a domestic violence issue in Fort Lauderdale, but he also had not signed his rookie contract yet. So now he is not only facing legal charges and possibly not having a career in the NFL, or at least with the Browns, but he may have just ruined his whole career. He doesn't have any guaranteed money, no contract signing, no nothing. Let's just start contract wise with the two of these players not signing.
I think Shamar Stewart, I will say this is a weird year of like rookies normally sign like within the first like couple weeks, and some of them have been months. Like some of them sign after rookie minicamp, and I'm like, buddy, you could have gotten injured, and then you lose all your leverage.
Mm-hmm.
In Shamar Stewart's case, I think he wants to sign. The Bengals are just trying to screw him, and he's not going to be made a fool. So on Shamar Stewart's case, I think that's really smart of him to not sign it. But the Bengals, like, if I'm the Bengals, you also don't have Trey Hendrickson. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have either guy, you don't have a pass rush, and then we're going to expect Joe Burrow to try and throw the ball 70 times a game because they have no defense. In Shamar Stewart's case, it's the Bengals are just being idiotic. In the Browns' case with Judkins, it's Judkins being, just not smart and doing what he did. Who knows what happens to him? Obviously, I hope he plays, but still, like, you can't do that in society, and you're gonna have to face the repercussions of it. Again, like you say, you didn't sign his contract, and who knows what in that contract language, what guarantees he would have been guaranteed. But in Shamar Stewart's case, he wants his money because, he's a guy that's trusting himself and all that. He's back at Texas A&M. He's going to petition to get his NCAA eligibility back if that's the case. And then the Bengals just lose. They just lose their draft pick. And then they still have the Trey Hendrickson issue. Yeah, I don't know. At times, I would love to be the GM and the owner to hear what type of pennies they're pinching and why they won't sign a dude. But, we can only get what we can get through Rappaport, Schefter, Daniel Jeremiah, Peter Schrager, you name it.
Do you think because this Shamar Stewart case is based on new, we'll call it legal jargon based on injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Shamar Stewart also is not a total experiment, right? Freak athlete.
He's a complete he's a experiment. It's one of those things where I'm not trying to cut you off, but I think it's one of those things for the Bengals where they're trying to protect their money because they're going to have to pay the three major dudes, right? T. Higgins, Chase, Burrow, and they want to be able to have money, right? But Shamar Stewart only in his entire collegiate career only produced 4.5 sacks. It's a total experiment of, and I think in the Bengals' perfect world, they have Hendrickson and Stewart, and that's an elite edge rushers that you have. But you may get neither, and that's just like DEFCON 9, like worst case scenario. It's a complete experiment for the Bengals, but I see what the Bengals are trying to do, but I don't know if that's something you really should die on the hill for,
Right. Well, they've got, one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league. You've got one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. And you've got Hendrickson, who, if I'm reading this correctly, the Bengals will reach this person remains confident that the Bengals will reach an extension with Hendricks that makes him a top 3 highest paid defensive player in football, which pushes pennies, right? And then you've got this other experiment, right? So maybe if one does, like, what if Shamar Stewart doesn't reach an agreement, right? Then do you feel like they're more inclined to pay Hendrickson, or maybe vice versa? Maybe Stewart, maybe he's Stewart caves, right? Maybe let's just say he's unable to get his eligibility back. Do you think that's a plus side for Cincinnati? And then, well, now we can just pay him and Shamar Stewart walks on his way, or Shamar Stewart signs, and now we don't have to pay Hendrickson. Do you think this is a sacrifice one lamb to feed the other?
No, I think in a perfect world, I think they want both of them. I think they know they need both of them. That defense was really bad last year. Like, that Bengals offense historically was, like, really good. And they were one of the worst teams in football, like, as well. Like, the defense was so bad. I think they need Shamar Stewart. I think having Hendrickson with Shamar Stewart helps. But again, I don't know, man. It just feels like the Bengals are trying to muddy up the waters, and it just doesn't make sense on why they're trying to muddy it up. But what do I know, right?
Well, what do you think? Well, I what you know, but what do you think?
I think they signed Hendrickson, and man, I do think they signed Stewart, but it's not gonna be on the Bengals' terms. I think Stewart will get what he wants, which is not the jargon that voids all his guaranteed money in terms of an injury.
Do you think this is a hill for Stewart that the Bengals should die on, given Hendricks gets the extension that he looks for?
I don't think it's worth it, but I'm also not. I don't know the analysts that they have. I don't know. On the outside looking in, just sign the guy. At least you get guaranteed a DN, and then you can focus on the Trey Hendrickson piece later. Because not only do they, like, it's not uncommon to pay guys. It's just Mike Brown, the owner of the Bengals, doesn't want to pay anybody.
Right.
So, I do think they reach an agreement, but I think it's going to get ugly. I think it'll get especially ugly, like, in August, when we're starting to get closer to college football. And all of a sudden, the whole conversation becomes, is Shamar going to play for the Bengals or is he going to play for A&M? Because Shamar can also petition and be like, I'm not going to give them another chance. Practice in bad faith, like, blah, 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 blah. And they can be like, you can go back to college. And he's probably going to get several million of dollars from, A&M. Not going to be NFL money, but it's pretty good.
Right.
So, who knows with Shamar? I think it's interesting. I talked about it on TikTok the other day, and everyone's like, one dude, I think it was Rico Knows, big account, commented, I talked about this 2 months ago, and these dudes are talking about it now. And it's like, well, we talked about it on the podcast when it first went down. There's just no major development until the other day when it was announced that he, was practicing at A&M.
That's news. New news.
New news. Call me Travis Kelce.
Does Rico know?
Not a dude I'm trying to get in a beef with, but...
Get in a beef with Rico?
No, we don't want that. We don't need that. We don't need a grown man being mad at us because we're questioning each other's ball knowledge. I'm not trying to deal with that.
I'm all for it.
I know you are, but I've seen what he does on his TikTok, and he's not somebody I would like to particularly mess with. Not my cup of tea. Cool that he commented, but it's never whenever he comments, it's never positive. It's never positive.
Well, if you've got to step over other people to get to the top and make it public, that's not the type of viewership I would desire to have.
I guess I have a couple more storylines, I guess, to follow. I mean, obviously, I want to talk a little bit about the JJ McCarthy storyline. Where does he go?
Yeah.
What do I think? But I'm also, I think that's another storyline that I'm personally keeping an eye on. I think JJ's going to be just fine. Again, everybody's hating on him because they're like, he didn't do much in Michigan. You're the one guy included. But you look at his numbers. Obviously, passing's not the biggest strength, but he had an insane third down accuracy, completion, third down rate, conversion. And he also is in one of the best offenses in the league. He's with one of the best coaches, especially quarterback offensive-minded coaches in the league, in Kevin O'Connell. He's throwing to Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison. And Jalen Nailors.
Yep. Could be worse.
He's got Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason and a pretty good defense. And the Vikings re-bolstered the whole O-line, man. They got the center, Kelly and Fries. They drafted Donovan Jackson. They kept some of the left tackle and the right tackle, and we got Darisaw. This is going to be a good Vikings team. It's going to be good. I think I'm particularly confident in JJ McCarthy. But again, I have to be. He's going to be our franchise quarterback for a while. So they like him better, and I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to let Kwesi cook. And yeah, and then the second last storyline that I'm really watching is multiple teams' running back rooms, specifically Dallas and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Dallas doesn't have a true number one, versus Jacksonville may have 3 number one running backs, potentially.
Right.
Jacksonville has Etienne, Bigsby, and Tutton now, or Tootin. And the Cowboys they let Rico Dowdle walk. They got the dude from the Broncos, Javonte Williams. And then they drafted Jaden Blue out of Texas. Interested to see what that turns into over there. I'm interested to see what happens in Jacksonville. And I'm also interested to see what happens in Minnesota with JJ McCarthy. So I'm excited for training camp. I'm excited to get some football back. But yeah, final thoughts before we do our top 5 here.
Where do you see Minnesota being in this coming year? I mean, JJ McCarthy, this is going to be his first true start, right? This is his real NFL debut season. What's the ceiling for this team right here? I mean, Sam Darnold really unpredictably left an incredibly big shoe to fill, right? And you've got an upgraded NFC North that you are going up against, right? The Bears upgrading. Detroit, possibly a little step back, but they're still kind of the top dog there. And then you've got the Packers, who could be arguably another wild card, but will probably sit in that 2-3 range regardless. Where do you see Minnesota lying, and what is your faith? I know you're bought in to McCarthy, but what is your faith on getting them to the ceiling that you're about to tell me?
I mean, selfishly, Super Bowl.
Well, realistically.
Realistically, NFC Championship game probably would be like if we shatter the seat, like we're kissing the glass, like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, glass elevator, break through the ceiling, like that's NFC Championship is like the highest of the high, right? I think the floor is playoffs. If we win the division, great. If we get home field, great. For me, ceiling is NFC Championship game because, like, the way the NFC could shake out, like, we should be able to take down some of these teams, honestly.
Right.
That, like, let's say we get lucky and we win a division and then we play, like, maybe we get lucky and we play, like, a Green Bay or, a Rams or a Seattle team that's kind of inched their way in. Or maybe we play the NFC South. We play the Bucks, or the Falcons. I think that's a good ceiling. I think the floor is playoffs. I think the floor is 10 wins, maybe 11, depending on how selfish I feel when I look at the schedule. 10 wins. And then for JJ, it's maybe a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Let's call it what it is. Maybe it's 21 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Try and keep it low, keep it healthy, get through a season. I don't expect us to finish last in the division. I expect us to contend towards the top. I don't expect 15 wins or 14 wins, whatever we had last year. I don't expect that again. But I do expect 10 wins.
Okay. And then what is your confidence? Give me a percentage in JJ McCarthy.
85% confident that he's the guy. I really like JJ McCarthy. I'm not going to say he's the best quarterback I've ever evaluated, but when you take a look at the fit and the coach and everything that's asking of him, it's pretty good. He couldn't have fallen to a better situation in Minnesota.
Probably true. All right. And then my second question is going to be about the running back rooms. We have a 3 running back race in Jacksonville, and like you said, a 2-horse race in Dallas. Do we see an avenue where the 2 or the 1 running back guy shifts into two, right? We've seen it a little bit more in college where these colleges are going to two-back system. I don't think it's going to be to the extent of that by any means, but like they're like this at 1 and 2, and you're really interchanging them. And like, what better time to do it when you have a 3-horse race, when you have a third reliable guy, or you have two people that are right there as far as, flip a coin and either one of them could be the starter.
I think Jacksonville will be a running back by committee. I think it'll be ETN or Bigsby will be the 2-down back. Whoever is the latter part of that, who's not getting the first 2 downs, will be the running back on 3rd downs. Personally, I think Tootin will eventually take the starting job, potentially, because he kind of looks and feels like Bucky Irving, which he had in Tampa Bay. But Tutton has had issues with the ball, of fumbling, so we'll see how he handles that in training camp. Because that was the one thing from rookie minicamp that was a struggle. I think it'll be Bigsby running back 1, ETN running back 2. And then in Dallas, I think it's Devontae Williams, Jaden Blue, and then Miles Sanders. But I do think Jaden Blue will potentially be the starter long term, but it's weak over in Dallas, and Jacksonville is quite interesting just because of what Liam does. But if I had to, take an early guess, it'll go Bigsby, ETN, Tootin, Williams, Blue, Sanders.
There you go. Good stuff.
Well, DJ, let's do a little rapid fire top 5 here. We're running long. Me and DJ both were texting, and we're like, this is going to be a quick little episode. And I'm like, it's never a quick little episode, my friend.
It's not, but
we got things to talk about. We got things to do. We're going to have Jonny Lazarus at the end of this, and it's going to be really good. We're feeling like a real podcast. Now imagine if we had sponsors. If you're listening,
please,
we would love a sponsor.
Please.
We would love one. But DJ, top 5 fast food items.
Hold on, I gotta do my list here. I gotta get my draft board ready.
Because we are both big backs, and we are ready.
I believe you have number 1 overall today.
I do have number 1 overall today. And that is simply going to be the Crunchwrap from Fantastic item. Sought after. And I want the Crunchwrap as my first pick because I love it. You get the pico, get the tostada, sour cream, cheese, beef, lettuce, pressed in a tortilla. It's amazing.
I'm going to go with the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich.
Yeah, that's good. Basic, but that's okay.
Yeah, I just can't believe you went Crunchwrap. Wasn't even on my list.
Wow. I feel like Crunchwrap needs to be on everyone's list. I have Go ahead. Say your pick, and I got to...
No. Go ahead.
I had somebody tell me long time ago, she was like, my old boss, Shanley, was like, I've never had Taco Bell. And I was like, excuse me? And she's like, now that's going to be my flex. I'm just going to tell people I've never had Taco Bell. And I'm like, that's such a sad life you live. That you've never had a Doritos Locos Taco? Never had a Crunch.
The best one. I think
you never had you never had a Crunchwrap or a quesadilla or a chalupa or any of the absolute greatness that comes from Taco Bell. Baja Blast, even the little Cinnabon delights. Oh. Cinnamon twists.
Yeah, no. Taco Bell definitely best junk food you could ask for. The Doritos Locos Taco is my favorite by far. But with my second overall pick, McDonald's fries.
Ooh, love that pick.
Love the saltiness of it. Asking for them hot
and crispy,
salty.
Did I ever tell you I used to work at a McDonald's in high school?
I did not know that.
I know all the McDonald's secrets. I know them all.
I don't want to know them.
You don't need to. None of them are actually that bad.
Fair enough.
Boy, let's test how big my back can get here.
I mean, you named like 7 Taco Bell items.
That's different, though. That's Taco Bell.
I don't think you got to worry about anything else. One item from any other.
Fast food items. I'm going to take, in the same vein, I'm going to take the McDonald's hash brown from the breakfast menu.
All right. I can respect that.
That's elite.
Yeah.
just because I gotta have a chicken sandwich, I think this is the superior chicken sandwich.
Popeyes.
And that's the Popeyes chicken sandwich. We're leaving some heavy hitters here on the board, but I like what I have so far.
Yep. We are leaving some heavy hitters up here. It's just which direction does one desire to go? Can I make a wager to get rid of In and Out as a possibility on this list because I don't have it here in Florida.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Okay, thank you. Because
Wasn't on my list, but I'll give it to you.
okay, fine. I mean, I might take what's on your list, and that's what really matters here.
I'm not worried about it.
I think I've gotta get a burger off here. Where do I go? Are we counting Five Guys as a fast food place? That's debatable. I'm okay with either one.
Doesn't have a drive-through.
Okay, fair enough. Then I'm gonna go with the Wendy's Baconator.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Baconators are good.
And then the turnaround, really good. Am I going for popularity or am I just going for absolute goodness here? I think they've fallen off, so I'm gonna go with this one. I'm gonna go with the Dairy Queen Blizzard.
Ooh, a little sweet treat there. I love that action.
I gotta go sweet.
Well, in that case, I'm gonna take at number 4 the Whataburger Patty Melt with spicy ketchup.
Okay.
If you've had it, no, it slaps. Slaps. I mean, Whataburger also. Honey butter chicken biscuit. Late night honey butter chicken biscuit.
Supreme.
So good. And for my final pick, I feel like I gotta go in the sweet treat realm like you did here. But I
have everything at the palm of my hand after this next answer.
I know you do. I could go easy. I could go like Big Mac, snack wraps all the rage right now. You know, I could go down that route, but
go your heart, buddy. Where's your heart land?
Could let Mike have his way and talk to me about a sandwich. You know, I'm trying to think. I could go like Cookout, but not everybody's had Cookout.
I haven't had Cookout.
You know? Oh, dude, Cookout's so good. Unaffected by the price of inflation. It's amazing. You could get a burger, 2 sides for like $8 and a drink for all $8. You know, I'm gonna go, and this to me is quintessential. You know, fast food. You know, when you're thinking about this restaurant, you think about this first. I'm gonna go with the Wendy's Frosty. Wendy's Frosty as my number 5. So, reiterate, I got Crunchwrap Supreme, McDonald's Hash Brown, Popeye's Chicken Sandwich, Whataburger Patty Melt, and Wendy's Frosty. I have some freaking diversity in my freaking menu right here.
You do. But I've got one more here, Jacob.
Yep.
And I'm between 2. And I got to decide if I'm sticking with Wendy's for this or I'm going to a gourmet version. I think you know where I'm leaning here. I think I got to go with the Rave at the moment because the Rave is serious.
You going snack wrap?
No.
Oh.
No. You got to Raising Cane's with the cane sauce.
Yeah, that's a good one. A box combo's elite. The tenders are good though. I thought about Cane's. I thought about it, but that's not it's not a classic like the rest that I named. You know,
that is correct, and that's why I specified with the Rave that's going with. Because if I wanted classic, spicy nuggets from Wendy's.
Yeah, spicy nuggets from. I'm surprised we left off McNuggets from McDonald's.
I think people are going to take. I think people would take the Wendy's nuggets over the McDonald's ones.
They honestly are good, especially the spicy nuggets. Back in like high school, was all the rage. All the rage.
So I was against the Frosty too, and then they started tossing all this stuff in there. That's where I think it fell off. So I think the Frosty's low key on the low right now.
Yeah, I feel like Wendy's is on the low. I feel like they had. I feel like the fallout needs to be studied from when they stopped offering the 4 for $4.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I think I need to see it because like McDonald's just has these heavy hitters. New chicken strips, right? Then they bring back the snack wrap. Then they got a s'mores McFlurry, right?
Ooh.
Then you can't beat a Big Mac. Then they're trying out new things with the quarter pounder with cheese. Then they got a new chicken. Like they're just reinventing the wheel all the time. Popeyes just came out with these like new chicken dippers, like their version of chicken fries. I will say though, a Burger King, when you get a good Burger King Whopper,
that's pretty good. A Whopper is a little underrated. I don't dare step
when you
foot
get a
in the
good one,
Burger
when you
King.
get a good one, it's really good. When it's a bad Whopper, it's a bad Whopper. What? Is that
digging
Western?
into my chair over there.
I can't even see him.
Blends in with the leather.
Who else here? I mean, yeah.
Cane's is a little too specific. I can go with that. The DQ Blizzard though, I don't know the last time a DQ Blizzard has disappointed.
That's elite.
You could have gone the Chick-fil-A milkshake, but when they went to the one size all for the Chick-fil-A milkshake, it really turned me away.
Yeah.
Why am I getting the same price milkshake for?
When you get the McDonald's, ironically, like a good McDonald's milkshake when it works is really good.
Like a McFlurry.
Yeah, McFlurry's great. Love a McFlurry. Trying to think.
You're really stolen with the hash brown there. I know.
I feel
like getting the breakfast food there. That being your carb too.
It was either that or the Chick-fil-A fries. That's where my head was gonna go.
Yeah, but when they changed the Chick-fil-A fries, they kind of went downhill.
But
so you made the right choice. You made the right choice.
Like when you said McDonald's fries, I was like, what's one thing people want more than a McDonald's fry? McDonald's hash brown.
They're so expensive too.
I know.
These days, it's brutal. It's like $3.70 for one.
Not if this depends on your McDonald's. This is how big back we all are. But sometimes they do a buy one get one for $1, and you can get like a sausage McMuffin and a hash brown for like $3.50. This is me living on deals over here for breakfast.
You know what's
honey butter chicken biscuit at 1:30 in the morning would change your life. After a couple brewskis, responsibly.
Of course, the one thing from McDonald's that I don't get that I always wish I do, just because I'm low key a McDonald's hater except for when it comes to the hash browns and the French fries, is what is the one that tastes like a pancake with syrup in it?
The McGriddle. The
McGriddle.
Yeah, I can't.
Like, I don't get it myself. But you remember Taj? That boy orders a bag full of stuff, and so he always has an extra one or two in there. Boy, I don't pass up on that offer.
Chad Ochocinco loves him some McDonald's back in the day. Chad Johnson. And then I don't know how much you listen to Part of My Take. I'm a huge Part of My Take guy. And my guy Zach is on one. The biggest generational run. You know who I'm talking about? Generational. Like Linsanity type run. The summer of Zach, first off.
Right.
And then second off, his McDonald's order is absurd. Did you hear this?
A 10 to 20 nuggets? How do you decide between the two?
For dessert. It's first 2 McDoubles with extra onion, or 2 cheeseburgers extra onion. No ketchup, I think.
Extra onion's insane.
Extra onions. Then he gets 2 large fries and then gets a 10 to 20 nugget, and he goes, oh, it just kind of depends on how I feel. It's like the dessert nugget. And then he'll have like a pint. He'll have
pint
a whole
or two.
Pint or two of Ben and Jerry's.
Ben and Jerry.
And he just he's just
ridiculous.
Like, it's kind of insane the generational run that he's on. But I love Zach. Else, what are we missing? Any fast food joints but that aren't super regional? That's pretty.
I mean, I feel like we didn't really hit Chick-fil-A all that well.
Chick-fil-A
we didn't
fries.
hit Burger King at all. Popeyes, you did pretty good.
Yeah.
Chicken sandwich. We didn't hit KFC.
KFC, I kid you not. I have a friend, DJ, who she was like, oh, I want to get food. This is Kara's roommate, Abby. Yeah, don't worry, Abby. Not a lot of people listen and watch our stuff right now, so it's not that big of a deal. But she went to Popeyes and got Popeyes food, but then also went to KFC because she wanted the KFC mashed potatoes and gravy. I was like, you couldn't live with the Popeyes mashed potato and gravy? Like, did you really have to go to Popeyes? She's like, yes, Jacob, I did. And I was like, Jesus. I was like,
that's hysterical.
That's
I
rough.
have gone to McDonald's and gotten the fries next door to each other. I'm not talking about lengths away. I mean, like McDonald's.
The KFC and Popeyes were near each other. I will give her that. But
I have gotten fries. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting fries from McDonald's because they're right here. And then got on to Wendy's to get a burger because
the
I was
burgers
like,
are
I'm
good.
not willing to risk my Wendy's fries being cold and unsalted
Mm-hmm.
when I
Mm-hmm.
know they're going to be hot and salty, but
Mm-hmm.
from McDonald's. But we did leave all pizza off the board.
But
Didn't go.
that's not really fast food though.
I mean, there's fast food pizza places though.
Maybe the next one we do is pizza slices, top 5 pizza slices, and then we can get super specific.
But you can't really get pizza slices from these big places. Like, where are you getting pizza slices from that's nationwide?
Well, you just gotta know a local pizza joint like me.
I know plenty of local joints, but
dude, in UMass, in Massachusetts at UMass Amherst, I talked to Jonny Lazarus about this. I was like, Antonio's was the best pizza joint. Still is one of the best pizzas I've ever had. Chicken bacon ranch pizza. You get the corner slice, so you get a little edge, you get a little crisp as you're going around. They reheat it, you get it right out. I used to do the hole punch, so I would get a free slice after every couple slices, and it was so worth it. It's always weird when you talk fast food because, like, to me, fast food restaurant has to have a drive-through.
So would you consider like Starbucks?
Yep, that's fast food.
Dunkin' Donuts?
Fast food.
Okay. Yeah, we left them off the board. Chipotle's an interesting one, but I think Chipotle's...
They don't have enough drive-throughs for me to warrant it. You know, like, you still most of the time have to get out of your car.
Right.
To go into Chipotle. While it is fast, and it depends on the line and all that stuff, but you have to get out of your car. Same with, like, Jersey Mike's. You have to get out of your car. I could have done Jimmy John's because you can go, they have drive-throughs.
Zaxby's.
Yeah, but if you're going to go
Shake Shack, no, Shake Shack's a little
bit more.
drive-thru.
In-N-Out's also more of a restaurant than a drive-thru, personally. I love going inside an In-N-Out.
Fair. Krispy Kreme.
You know what I haven't had in a while? You know what I haven't had in a while? Is a Steak and Shake. I haven't had Steak and Shake in a while. I know.
A Steak and Shake we would get quite a bit from Steak and Shake roaming around Orlando. Get in there, fries and a milkshake real quick. Snappy.
Also for
snappy
cheap.
with it.
Also for cheap back in the day. It's probably more expensive now, but back in the day.
And for shake and fries, it's a little pricey, but
yeah. But
it's good.
I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I think we kind of like hit on the major fast food. In Texas, Jollibee. Jollibee is a popular one, but that's not super well known around the world. Like fast food. No. I don't really know. I think that's pretty good. I mean, pizza's different, but like, you know what I am? I say this to people all the time. You're going to probably look at me much differently after I say this, but I love Arby's. I love Arby's. Look at me weird all you want. A beef and cheddar with the mozzarella sticks. They had this orange creamsicle milkshake, dude, that was so good. It was so good. I love you know the tweet that goes, who's keeping Arby's in business? I'm the motherfucker keeping Arby's in business. I'm keeping them in business.
You know what, buddy? I'm happy for you. You know what? You freaking go.
You know who
it
also
is the
has,
number 16 company, fast food restaurant.
You know who also has underrated desserts? Is Sonic. Sonic has underrated desserts.
I've never been to Sonic.
Sonic's, I think, more of a Midwestern thing than a...
It is. I'm sorry, I've been there once. A very long time ago.
Yeah.
Very long time ago. But they are number 14 on this list. I saw one that said Subway has 20,000 locations.
Dude, when's the last time you've been to a Subway, bro?
I don't know that I've ever been to a Subway.
Yeah, you definitely have. Like, after baseball? No?
Or McDonald's, Wendy's, after baseball.
Dude, I will say, before I got put on the pub subs, I did like a good Subway. I mean, a pub sub's elite. For those who have had it, it's elite. Very elite. I try and go to like other places and get like the deli, like to make a sandwich. You know, you go up to the counter and they make you a sandwich.
Okay.
I've been chasing the high of a pub sub for about 3 years now. Because that's how long I haven't had one. 3 years, man.
Wow. There
Sucks.
was one, McAllister's Deli. That's good stuff.
You like McAllister's? I didn't mind chicken salad chick. That's always good. I like
what
that.
a pull.
I like that.
Chicken salad chick was okay. The variety there was good enough for me to eat at, but chicken salad's also not my favorite thing. So
it's just good if you're on a long road trip and you want to break from eating like crap, like a multi-day.
right.
Like when I was driving down from Massachusetts to Waco, having a little chicken salad chick and not eating like crap felt good.
Right.
I do love Jimmy John's though. Number 5 DeVito all the way.
I'm a firehouse. If I'm going to fast food subs, I'm a firehouse. Guy.
What'd you do? The hook and ladder? I used to do the turkey bacon ranch. Love that. That was a
hook and
one.
ladder, light mayo,
meatball sub,
pickle.
Their meatball sub was really good.
If you made it this far, thank you for watching.
Yeah,